it's no secret that under the previous administration, the Department of Agriculture willfully engaged in racial discrimination when administering several of the programs in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And in many cases, these discriminatory policies provided and enhanced benefits. There was some preferential treatment. There was priority consideration within the USDA programs to individuals classified as socially disadvantaged. And that was based on race, ethnicity, and gender. And recognizing the problem with this, it's my understanding that was plaguing the federal government, President Trump, shortly after coming to office, signed the executive order ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. I just wanted to ask you real quickly if you could share some specific examples of actions that the department has been able to take to comply with President Trump's executive order and to remove these preferences to ensure that our farmers and ranchers are all being treated equally under the law.
On day one, we canceled 900 DEI trainings, which is kind of stunning that the U.S. Department of Agriculture was spending so much time and resources and taxpayer dollars DEI training. The number of grants that we canceled that were focused on things like, this is the name of the grant, Queer and BIPOC Farmers and Food Justice in San Francisco. This was an actual USDA grant looking at racial injustice in the pest control business. That was another grant. Looking at the menstrual cycles and transgender
Wow.
Americans. I mean, it is stunning. And I have to believe that maybe not every American who hears that, but I've got to believe most Americans, no matter where they vote or what side of the aisle they vote on, would agree that that is not a good use of taxpayer dollars coming through the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Right. And so aligning the USDA, recalibrating the USDA, and putting the farmer and the rancher as our number one customer. We do a lot of things every day, all day, every day, but when Abraham Lincoln founded this department in 1862, never in a million years would he ever have been okay with some of the priorities that the last administration had put in place. So that's what we worked hard to change.
Well, and I agree 100%. And I will say that that's why I was pleased to see in February of this year, the Solicitor General John Sauer sent a letter to Speaker Johnson stating that the Department of Justice had identified and concluded that several of these statutory provisions of federal law governing these programs that establish race and gender-based preferences for individuals designated as socially disadvantaged, according to John Sauer, they were unconstitutional. And so while the DOJ's determination is important to me, hypothetically speaking, if Congress doesn't remove these provisions from federal law, could a future administration reinstate these race and gender-based preferences and reverse the reforms that your department has now started to implement?
That is the challenge. That is the imperative that Congress has to act. That, and it isn't just on DEI, that's important, and it isn't just on some of the other silly stuff that we inherited, but even out in the countryside, the farmers are so thankful. Thank you for changing the adverse effective wage rate for H-2A, so it's now I can afford my H-2A employees. Thank you for putting, for putting real food back in the dietary guidelines and for our school lunches. Thank you for deconsolidating the packers and getting, thank you for all that. But unless we get it codified and into law, these farmers are going to face whiplash again, and they're going to go back again. And so I just can't understate it. And y'all have been heroes on trying to get all of this into law so it stays.
Well, and Madam Secretary, that is exactly the concern, and that's why I introduced the Equal Treatment for Farmers Act, which would strike the very provisions in the U.S. Code that the DOJ has identified as unconstitutional and prohibits future administrations from discriminating based on race or gender. I think all of us agree discrimination is wrong.
That's
right.
It
always has been. It is antithetical to our American values, but the solution to discrimination is not more discrimination, in the opposite direction, is providing equal treatment under the law. And I was very thankful to have 26 co-signers almost immediately when we dropped that bill, and it's something that's going to be important. So I want to say thank you to you and to your department and to this administration for the work they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll look forward to partnering with you on that further. Thank you.